Good day and welcome back to my channel. So it's time to get started on the Tamiya F-14 in 1/48. Really kind of excited, looking for something to be new, different, and positive coming from my tangerine experience. So let's go ahead and just shift right into getting started. Getting started into this, I'm going to use Quintas Studios transfers. They're not really decals. They're basically 3D printed panels that are on backing paper. You use water to get them off, and you glue them on. I've used them once before, and I really like the way they look. Now, I'm going to be honest here. I'm not a fan of Quintas Studios specifically, simply because of where they're coming from. I understand there is a version called Red Fox, but just look at these, right? The detail is fantastic, and the amount of work effort to the accuracy is fantastic. You're just not going to duplicate this any other way than using one of those. So they've also got seatbelt pieces. They're okay. They're not bad. And then you just look at, you go ahead and you look at the instructions, and it tells you which pieces you need to use, where you're going to put them, and how that goes. What that also means is you need to put pieces and clean them off. So you go look at your instructions, find out what's got to go where, and then if there's raised detail on those pieces, you need to make that go away. So first things first, just start building the cockpit. And I will say this, as I'm working through here, this is really a dream to put together. It does not go together poorly. But this right here that I'm talking about, this is the part that's just a little bit of a pain, is as you put these pieces, the original pieces are nice if you're not going to use the Quintas Studio set, or the Red Fox set. But you do have to scrape off all the detail that's on it when you do, which is what I'm doing here. Do it, then sand it, and then put it in place. Again, not that hard, just need to make sure you're doing the right one. Giving it a base coat. And again, for those watching who are specific on paint scheme, color match, I'm not. So I'm going close, and that's kind of where I'm going to go. So please don't get offended, and if you will, sorry. So the next step, right, is to now, what I've done, I've gone ahead and built the cockpit, sort of. And I went through and put the base pieces together, the parts that I needed to get to. So I have these pieces I need to get to, and essentially I have the cockpit with all of the main parts put on where the panels are going to go. So now it's a matter of just going around and putting the panels on. I'm going to go ahead and start with this one. And again, for those who've seen this before, doing these is pretty straightforward. It's just getting it wet, getting it off of the sheet, and then putting it in place. So I'm going to start with these. Alrighty. I'm using CA for this just because I found that to be easier than last time I did them. We'll see if that ends up still being that way when I'm done. So let's start with that. So it'll be number 2. So it's number 2 here. All right. This is 1 and 3. So here's something interesting. So if we look at this, right, there is an extension that these go up. Here we go. There's an extension that goes up, right, for where those go. And I'm thinking I don't have this done enough, so I need to do is trim that off a bit more. But you can see where this says you're adding 1 and 3 to this little protrusions, and the protrusions are actually on that transfer, so that's pretty cool. But I need to make that smoother. So now here I left that I left this in place. This if I can get where I can see it. So I left that up, right? So that extension, and it looks like when I look at this transfer, I need that to be smoothed down. So I'm going to do that real quick off camera. Well, maybe not off camera. Just going to go ahead and trim that down a bit. I didn't think I needed to, I didn't realize I needed to get this totally flat, but you do. So do that, and don't cut your finger in the process, because that will be uncomfortable. There. That'll make that smoother. So then all I need here, just a dip in there, and that makes that move. I'll always do this, so move you over here. Where is my toothpick? No, put just a bit. Just a touch of CA there. So I do apologize. I'm still trying to figure out getting the right view for how do we do that, or how we get all these things in. Well, once I've done all those parts, and it's just a matter of just following the steps through, go step by step, one at a time. Then it's time to put together the rest of the cockpit and do the front nose. Just kind of like the 1/32nd scale, you build the landing gear bay underneath the cockpit. You make it an assembly, and this one does go together beautifully. It's really not a challenge at all. It's just align it, get it together, put it in place. Then go get the nose cone piece, and here's where you take your time, right, as you walk around it, clean all the parts off. I don't understand why some of these parts are where they are, but it's like having extra parts just cause. But once I put the cockpit in place, the way I put the nose on is I started at one part of the seam and then I walked it, right? So I started at the nose and did the top, got that lined up, and I'm using the quick set, and then I just start walking around and just get the whole cockpit nose assembly goes together really nicely, just like that. So with that, I have gone through step 8. Cockpit is ready as it's going to be. Now what I did do, I don't know how well this is going to show up on video, but I did hit this with a wash and then a high brush of gray. And you can, depending on the angle, you can actually see there you go. You can see the details and different shades of black in there, and that's what I was going for. So I've run shading through here. So now I'm just going to move on. I mean, this is really going together quite nicely. There's some seam work I'm going to need to do right there. I see that just now. But it's really going together quite well. Just some minimal work. So the next step is this. Now this is where I had done the Tamiya 1/32nd, and this piece, or this assembly The Tamiya 132nd is just hideous, really. Yeah, I'm not even gonna say anything more than that. Now this one is calling for this piece here. So it looks like this one here. Yeah, there we go. So we'll start off with this. By the way, this is C. So this is the bottom, this is the top. And so we'll just go ahead and get cranked in. I thought I'd overlooked and lost the hardware, but it turns out they were just hiding underneath my transfer sheet. So we'll go ahead and we'll get cracked in on doing this one. All right, so we're going to call this video done for today. Doing the cockpit was a bit of not a bit of a slog, but it was a good bit of work. And the next logical piece is getting the rest of the body put together. So we'll do that in the next video. The Quintas Studio, or pretty much working any of the 3D printed type of instrument panels, really does add quite a bit to the overall look of the model and the result. I understand that there are those who may have a challenge patronizing Quintas Studios, given where they are located. There is another manufacturer, as I understand, called Red Fox. And I don't remember where they're from. Chris Becker actually had noted them, and he's from Australia, so I think it's that side of the world. But I'm going to actually look for those next time I do one. But for now, I did use what I have, and I like them. Right? They really do add a good bit. The nose cone of the F-14 goes together very, very well. If the rest of the kit goes like this, it's really going to be a really positive experience. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this video was useful and entertaining. Please feel free to put comments down below if you wish. Just, again, keep them respectful. And until next time, thank you. Happy modeling.